Irithyll is where all the toughest ganks are, and as an invader you need to be the most prepared for. And wait, is that a bleed infusion? Is that a fucking Morningstar? No one ever appreciates me and my luck build. I mean, do you blame anyone for saying that? You gotta be retarded to use it. Don't say that, man. That's mean. I mean, everything that the tryhards say has to be true in all circumstances, you know? No. Fuck you and your meta. I'll teach you all that luck is good. Just watch me. Hello once again, and I have a little bit of a thing to tell you. Luck is good, and I think so in invasions. What? You're not supposed to believe anything outside of luck is bad. Well, taking a look at the build, this is a level 61 character, and the way that I think that luck is so good is because of a number of reasons, but if you look at our ring setup and our hollow stuff, we actually get a lot of stats, especially considering that we're level 61, and it adds up to being closer to something like 80. So, this character has a massive arsenal of stuff to work with, including blood infusions, poison infusions, and hollow infusions, and the rings kind of switch as they go, but what you see now is typically what I use. A quick public service announcement. Please, do not have 4 people in your world at a singular time. Please, do not fall victim to R1 spam. Please do not be an ass and use the Frida Scythe. Also, do not mess up, and do not underestimate the range of a Black Knight Great Axe. Good job. Wow. Please, do not host fight clubs. Also, as an invader, do not partake in fight clubs. Please, do not die before we can get into your world and fuck you. Please, for the love of God, get better internet. Seriously, an Ethernet cable is like $10, not even that tops. Oh my god, you all suck. Just get an Ethernet cable, it's not that hard. You look like you live in Iraq. Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a while, but I got excuses, yo. Yeah, I wanted to show off my invasion build that was centered around luck. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the situation at hand. This, as you saw in the opening, is 4 people, and you may be wondering, that's a blue, where's the invader that, you know, because the blue was here before us. Well, if you paid attention, the invader was being completely useless at an opposite side of the map. And this is how not to, take care of a 4v1. Good job. There's only 4 of you. The odds were not in your favor. Good job. Good job. Point down definitely worth it. So we invade the same people. Same useless invader in my world. Same blue. Same everything. But you can tell the Phantom is over leveled. You know, there's everyone trying. I mean, there's 4 of them and they're trying that hard to beat me. It's not like they can even hit each other. I always wanted to make a valid luck build, but you know, you can run a luck build, but it just won't be as good as a refined build in duels, for the most part. But considering that when you use a hollow weapon, it increases your luck scaling, it actually does have a really good place in invasions, and I felt like the perfect place for this was at a lower level. And I'll go a little bit more in detail on that in just a moment. So I separated the party here. Both a Phantom and the Blue are with me now with all these guys. Now what made this invasion basically unwinnable was that they had killed basically everything in the world thus far, except for these guys and what's beyond it, but they were not willing to come this way. But yeah, he's standing in the vomit of the other guys. Bada bing, bada boom, get our Estus back. So I go and try and find them, but, you know, they're being extremely sneaky, or they just ran around me by accident. There are specific parts of this video dedicated to the different infusions, because how I see it is that you have a lot of infusions in Dark Souls 3, and based on what type of build you run, there isn't just one singular infusion that takes benefit from that specific build. What I mean by this is, and the only exception is really like heavy build, dex build, refined build, stuff like that, you know, where there's no other weapons that really get a benefit from you using a quality build except for refined infusion. But for all the others, for example, a 30-30 build in intelligence and faith gets both dark and chaos infusions to work with. 40 intelligence, or however many intelligence, gets both crystal and infusion. Crystal and simple. Now, you may not see the point in that, but it actually comes very useful in invasions, and I would encourage people to at least carry 2 simple infused things at all times. Because especially if you're using a build or a weapon that is, you know, reliant on your FP, like the mace right here, you're going to want to not spend any Ashen Estus Flask every moment you can to get all your stuff back. Same goes for miracles. They have the Blessed Infusion and Lightning. Blessed, I don't think I need to explain why it makes for a good support weapon. Now, going back to the invasion at hand real quick, you're going to see here in a moment how to, a key flaw that I have with invasions, and that's using too much stamina. I would say the worst thing about this character is that he only has 25 endurance, and I swear to God, someone can fact check me out there, but yeah, see right here, ran out of stamina. Wow, good job. You really are good at this game. So much to my dismay, we invade the same people again. And I'm not kidding, between all 3 of these invasions I did on these guys, that was probably almost half an hour's worth of footage because they were so reluctant to fight me, that I literally would spend like 10 minutes in their world at a time. But it's not like they're progressing through the level, they've already killed everything in this area. So, what you're seeing me do right now is use a bow to try and harass them. That doesn't turn out working too well here, but having a bow or just a ranged weapon in general is always a great idea. Now, going back to what I was talking about before, but you see, unlike every other infusion type that has 2 different... every single build type that has 2 infusions to work with, luck builds have 3. You have Hollow, obviously, which is your damage output. You have Bleed, which is under the misconception of being useless. And you also have Poison, which is also under the misconception of being useless. And I'll explain in respective parts of the video why this is not the case. There is a lot to be said about each single infusion type, but I want there to be corresponding footage, so every single infusion will have its own section of the video to prove its worth. Now, for a luck build, obviously you want to carry around Henri's Straight Sword, but you also want to have Hollow Lothric Knight Sword, which I'll also have, because even though it doesn't do as much, Lothric Knight is so good because of its superb range. And, you know, sometimes that range just makes the slightest bit of a difference. Sometimes you have to give up 30 AR for, you know, a lot more range. It's just based on the situation. So, the reason I have the round shield out is I thought I was going to be able to parry these guys, but they really weren't giving it to me. But yeah, anyway. So, Hollow Infusion works best at meta level when you use it in combination with a 40-40 build, or 30-30, 35-35. But at lower invasions, you see +6 in your Hollow weapons gives you 4 to luck. So that means you only need to get luck to 32, and then your weapons will give you the rest of the AR for you. So that's really good because that's free levels that give you more attack power at a lower level. Lets you put stats elsewhere. I also use the Knight and Hunter's Rings because there's a lot of weapons that benefit from them. And what I mean by that is just being able to use them in general, you know? Because I have 15 in both attack and dexterity, and whenever I feel like using like Knight or Hunter's Ring, you know, that dictates what I can use. So I can switch to Hunter's Ring to be able to use, say, like, the Lothric Knight Sword, or I can use the Knight's Ring to use Black Knight Shield or Stone Parma, you know? And then there's every other example under the sun of what I use, but I typically just keep them on for consistency's sake. So just like last time, we separated the blue from the Phantom and the Host, and thank God for the few amount of throwing knives I had left, or he may have made a little bit of a getaway and made things harder. So you're gonna see here, well, actually I trimmed down a whole bunch of footage of them just standing there like complete cucks doing nothing, because, you know, when there's two people, clearly a disadvantaged invader who has no enemies to work with except for these retarded hollows, obviously he's the most threatening thing. You need to go off into the distance and set up a Millwood bow, and you need to keep on taunting him because he's clearly that much of a threat. Wow, good job. You're so good at this game. Wow, you're so good. Alright, so these guys broke my soul, so I decided to invade in the actual Irithyll area, which is actually a lot more fun. I was literally only invading in that area because I saw there was a whole bunch of activity, or else I would never fucking go there. It's one of the most dull areas to invade. It's large, you can never find who you're fighting for, and the enemies aren't that good. This place, on the other hand, this is Gank City, but god damn it is the level not amazing. So this summon is massively overleveled. I mean, and when I say massively, that's not, like, I'm not saying that to feel better about myself. Dark Moonblade, Great Shield of Glory, which at least takes 40 strength, good amount of health, which has been scaled down, I know. And you're gonna see right here, just look at this AR. Yummy. I didn't want that health, as I will say numerous times. But this invasion right here is a good example of internet connection being a little bit deceitful. You'll see here in just a moment. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, yeah, like the best thing about luck builds and just refined builds in general, don't let me exclude dark builds. See right here. That was fun. The best thing about them in invasions is their versatility. And you see, even though hollow weapons don't do as much as refined and they don't have the chipping of a dark build, what they do have is versatility. Because you can use a full array of weapons, but you can also use blood and poison. And here in a moment I'll show you why. I'm actually... This isn't a duel, my friend. I'm gonna heal on you. I did not put my sign down for you. So actually I'm using blood barbed sword right here, and you may be saying to yourself, well, that's quite shit damage, my man. Well, yes, it is, but you're gonna see why it actually serves a purpose. This man is, I think his build was intentionally made for this area, for him to be wearing hornets. You're gonna see in a moment why bleed, because it's like getting a backstab. It's like it's all fun and it's all fun and games until this. Boom! Get rid of that fucking health bar. You see, when you surprise your opponent with burst damage like that, they don't have near as much time to, like, truly realize how fucked they are. It's like when you're fighting someone and then you get a backstab. It's like Lloyd's Talisman. See, here's a couple more of just bleed putting in all the work. It's like getting a backstab without having to get a backstab. So having bleed weapons, definitely useful, because if you're I mean, it's not so much useful when you're fighting numerous people at once. You want to be doing as much damage as possible, so that gets people off of you. But you see, bleed takes a different playstyle, and that is making your opponent not get off you. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? Because the more they don't run away, the more you can build up bleed, and then all their fucking health is gone, and that's a very small amount of HP you need to roll catch them for. Now, this was a very embarrassing person to lose to. You see, after those first 3 invasions of those guys, I was just so on tilt. And I just couldn't fucking take it. That's why I was playing so nasty.
Typically I have a little bit of sympathy, but I was just playing... I went on autopilot just because of how on tilt I was. This man was not good in my eyes, but he still won because I was so mad that I let my anger play me rather than me play the game. So yeah, PSA, learn to control your anger issues. But yeah, like I was saying, bleed is really good because you have to take into consideration, like, Estus cost, right? If your opponent, you know, gets consistently hit for 300 damage, they can run away after 2 or 3 hits and go heal, right? And that would be a justified Estus, you know? That's not a wasted Estus. That was a lot to recover. But when you hit them 3 times for 300 in total, that's more or less a wasted Estus. But once you hit them with that 4th hit, all their fucking HP is gone, right? So it just takes a different mentality of playing the game, which I think has its place and purpose, because it can really wrap up a fight really quickly, because your opponent doesn't want to waste their Estus, but that's exactly what bleed does until you get that one glorious blood effect and their HP drops through the fucking floor. Another thing that I was not prepared for today was these people, especially with straight swords, who just, god damn, they do not know anything outside of that R1 button. And I get that it's the best thing about the straight sword, but, like, you'll see here that, like, oh, he proves that he's smart enough to not get parried. But you'll see where they will press R1, like, who keeps pressing R1 right there? You know? Like, no one does that. But anyway, it's like they'd get hit and they'd still keep pressing R1. It's like, right here. In what world is that a good idea? But anyway, even though he majorly confused me, GG's to that man. So I got fed up with Pontiff, and I decided to go to Profaned Capital, which has quickly become one of my favorite areas in the entire game to invade. I just love this area so much. And this is a good example, like I said earlier, get a fucking Ethernet cable. I know it's not me because the host looks just fine, but everything that you know gets tossed out the fucking window when your opponent is playing on Wi-Fi hooked up to a goddamn potato, and their internet connection and their character is teleporting around like it's goddamn Mars landing. Get an Ethernet cable. So my plan here was to just take out the host, because that meant the less I had to deal with this fucking laggy piece of shit. And it turns out working as flawlessly as it could have. Watch this, watch this. Oh my god. But yeah, that was pretty funny. By the way, I fell out that window and died. So we invade this man's world, and even though I'm all the way up here, because I just invaded when I did this, he fucking somehow sees me all the way from up here when he's all the way down there. I have no clue how he saw me, but I decided to get a little bit sneaky with him. So he's thinking we're right there just with the obscuring ring on. Well, this is what we're gonna do. Now actually, as of recording this, my great bow was not upgraded. That's why it's only going to be doing about 150 per shot. But I do get it to +3 later. Now, this is the invasion where we need to talk about poison. I have a couple of poison weapons, including the Rotten Grew dagger and spear, and I also have this poison Zweihander.
What are you, fucking retarded? Why would you use a poison ultra greatsword?
Well, the reason is because when I was looking through statistics on the infusions list, I noticed that when you are using a slower weapon, they have considerably higher auxiliary effects when infused. So I was like, okay, let's try this out on a Zweihander. And it turns out you can almost poison anyone and everyone using only one R1 combo, which is very good. And if you look right here, look at his health. Pay attention to how much I had been doing up to that point, but poison got him in just the perfect range to be able to do that. And in my dad's words, Saint Riot, there is no stat that measures pressure, and that's exactly what poison is. Poison puts on the fucking pressure when you need it to. It panics them, and if they want to use a poison moss, that's just like using Estus. You can punish that, except they don't get their health back. Now, I was super proud of this invasion. It's me versus 3 people, you know, as you can expect. And I'm dancing around the roof because the man pulls out the over-leveled guy pulls out the Great Door Shield. And basically, as unfortunate as it is, you can just kind of ignore that thing. Not that it's a bad weapon, it's just that's what I opt to do. There's no reason on attacking a wall when there is someone attacking you. Now these are the guys that had that awful internet connection from before, so this is like my vengeance round, you know? So I see how much this summon and the host are holding up their shield, and I'm like, okay. Super MLG fast Sanic ring swaps later, we start to put into effect what is a giant chain reaction of Gank Spank. Stone Parma, super good, because it's basically Black Knight Shield, lesser Black Knight Shield, except Coke opening sounds, fuck sounds, dead, fucking just gone. Stone Parma, hollow, gives you 4 stats, it's basically a Black Knight Shield. Coke opening sounds, sit the fuck down, fuck your shield, and this fucking laugh. Thank you, my friend. Fucking funny as hell laugh. Now these next couple of invasions are with a particularly intelligent invader. I never work with invaders that aren't completely fucking retarded. This made a difference and a good change of pace. So these two are, you know, obviously ganking, but they are, I think this is the level that they wanted to play these characters at. I don't think they were going any further, because what they're using is very good for their level. It shows that they were creating a build around this level. So this Demon Scar person keeps on spamming that weapon art, which, you know, no one ever fucking does. So, you know, it works on me and I keep falling for it. See, like right here. Yeah, like, you know, you never see people do that. But anyway, I should go ahead and say that the reason this video is so long is because, you know, I've been gone for a couple weeks, and I didn't go a single day without thinking, you know, I really wish, you know, I could upload today. But the sad fact of the matter is that finals will take everything you love, steal them, and then not give them back until you took their shitty test. So yeah, he gets a high-speed parry on me right there. Not really high speed though, get off it dude, but I do fall for it because I'm autistic. Don't take that seriously, it's just a joke. Now, actually something that these guys, on top of their good builds, was also doing, was that he was using the ring that makes you look human. And this did a really good job of, in-sync point down by the way, this did a really good job of confusing who was the host and who was the summon. But yes, very good invader, and here's the funny thing. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, I got stuck right here, and when I got out of this invasion, I fell to my death, and I lost all my souls. So, moral of the story, do not walk out onto cliff edges. So, if you look closely, it's the same guy as before, the same good invader. Want to make sure he knows it's me. And we commence. So, I had been looking for about 2 minutes for where the fucking host is. I couldn't tell. But upon checking a couple places, we get back here, and it turns out that he's right there. You can tell by his beautifully lit Demon Scar. And what I ought to do, because he's actually taking on the other invader, you do not need to let someone that, or an NPC that's fighting with you, fight alone. See, he was hucking Chaos Bed Vestiges at him, but we're not going to let him do that freely. Now they retreat back into here, not wanting to get pelted in the tit anymore. But this is what I get as an idea, because they keep on firing at him, but I flank them. You can see them doing damage, but no, get the fuck off my level. Now, they are in a bad spot, because even though this is a really great area in terms of, like, poisoning people, because if you get poison and toxic stacked up on top of each other, just disgusting. Fucking disgusting what you can do. what you're also going to see here is a good example of why Silvercat Ring is so good. So he falls off, and I lose half of my fucking health bar. Where's Silvercat Ring, ladies and gents? But yes, now they are where we want them. He hits me by accident, but that's fine. And the Centipede, Miyazaki, what the fuck, demons, kill him. Very good invader, very good invasion. Very tactical, smack-to-cool, what the fuck am I even saying? So it happens again. We get the same people. Yet again, I think they may be dry-fingered, I'm not sure though. But this time I don't have an invading buddy to help me, so it's a gank. But we can take care of that. We've already proven that, you know, they don't have a ridiculous amount of health and defense, so it's not the world's biggest deal. But, you know, getting hit by Chaos Bed Vestige does not feel good. So let's not do that. Now, going more in depth into my build, I also carry... You see, one of the good things about Henri's Straight Sword is that upon it already having good damage output, it has a Blessed Infusion effect. It's not a particularly good one. It's, let's see, I think it's 1 HP every 2 seconds, or 1 HP every second or something like that. But you see, I carry both the Ethereal Oak Shield and the Ancient Dragon Shield. The Ancient Dragon Shield is probably something you've completely forgotten about. It is a shield that weighs more than the Ethereal Oak Shield, does not protect you as much as the Ethereal Oak Shield, heals about the same amount every single turn, and it doesn't have as good of stability. What's the point in using it, you may ask? Well, they stack. When you use Ethereal Oak Shield and this on top of each other, you regen HP so fucking fast, it's unbelievable. And if you're in the middle of a fight, you can go ahead and put on Henri's Straight Sword instead of 2 shields, and this allows you to, you know, do damage while you're regening HP. I think it's extremely important as an invader who has literally half the amount of Estus as the host. I think it's rather important that you regen your HP rather than using your Estus. Considering that Estus is fast and you can use it quickly, I think it's important to save Estus for any time that the host and the phantoms are not are on you and you need a quick way to get back your HP. I think it is inefficient to use Estus otherwise. You should take full advantage of the fact that Estus is so quick to cast. But yet again, we'll catch hell here. Toxic kills them if you pay attention. Really fun invasions. Gotta love the Profane Capital. Give him a little bit of a tap. Shoutouts to that man. Awesome invader. So, if you know me, you know that the Great Lance is my fucking love child. So I had to go get a hollow one in between recordings. I just fucking had to. If you're wondering where a really good area is to farm hollow gems for a luck build, a really good place is in the DLC. Those, I think they're called Undead Clerics, but the bastards that push you off cliffs and they have, like, miniature lightning stakes. Those guys. There's a whole bunch of them, and they drop them, I would say, on average about once or twice per run through. So, and you get a lot of souls from it, so it's actually a really good idea. So this host right here, not a bad player. I played really poorly in this invasion. I was just playing like shit. But he has these summons that are NPCs, so there's not really a reason to deal with them, because their damage is so mediocre. Now, I will go ahead and say that Alluring Skulls work on NPCs along with seeded areas. So, you'll see here in a couple of minutes that I use Alluring Skulls to get them off me so I can worry more about the host. Right here's an example. see I start chucking them, and you can see that Blackhand Goddard, for at least a little bit, pays attention to that rather than me. For some reason he sends everything home, but hey, I'm fine with that. But I'm actually retarded and I get caught by a parry. But, you know, you're using Great Lance, it's kind of what you gotta expect. Like, expect to get parried if you're using Great Lance. Now, what makes this build so good for me is that upon its endless versatility, not many builds can say that they apply pressure well. And of course you can stay up in someone's face with a curved sword and apply pressure, but, you know, sometimes it's nice applying pressure in places that a curved sword can't. And that's exactly what Poison does. And that's also what Bleed does. If you play with what you have correctly, these false accusations that Blood and Poison are useless are void. Like, yes, they don't do the world's most damage, but they definitely have their place. And considering that luck builds are still able to do damage with hollow infusions, it's a very good investment, especially for a low-level build. I recommend to anyone and everyone out there that wants to have a fun time with a low-level build, either you can copy my stats, or you can even make a more twinked build than what I'm using, because, trust me, this build is rather twinky. I mean, not twink, but it's still extremely optimized for its level. And I think I haven't stressed how good being able to counter-hit people with Great Lance is in invasions. But yes, you see what makes the Great Lance better in invasions is that, considering you have that R1 into weapon art combo, it makes for a very good Estus punish. And I agree with a number of invaders out there that a good Estus punish is a weapon that can do approximately around the same amount of damage as they heal, because that makes their Estus pretty much void. And the Great Lance goes in above and beyond with that. Now this host right here is just being extremely irritating, but just catch that thrust, take the penetration, shove it up your ass, and have a fun time in your own world. This host decided that he was gonna, you know, turn his internet connection off. Wanted to make sure that roll catches were impossible, and, you know, just no matter what meta weapons are meta weapons, the true meta of this game is lag. Just for anyone and everyone who does not know already, it is lag. Oh, and by the way, I don't care what anyone says about my armor choices. It is fucking Fashion Souls 101 up in this bitch. I don't care what anyone says. So, like, my character, you saw his just fucking to die for face at the beginning of the video. When you have your character's head made as large as possible, when you wear the Wilhelm helm, which looks very, like, awkwardly skinny and small, typically, it looks way more normal in size. It's not completely there, but it does look way better when your character's head is large. So, because I just fucking love how this helmet looks outside of it being small. And in combination with Deserter armor, like, I deserve a fucking medal for this Fashion Souls. Get this motherfucker out of here. Well, not yet, but, you know, we're getting another motherfucker in here while we're at it. Because all I want for Christmas is more invaders. So I really begin to wonder if he ran out of Estus there, because he didn't use it before he's putting on Carthus Rouge. Not Carthus Rouge, Carthus whatever the fuck it is, Flame Arc. But yes, now this host is mine. Well, until another Mr. Pew Pew came into the fucking world and decided that, you know, that he wanted to make sure that he runs the world's most irritating build. But that's fine. So, this took about 2 minutes of me just trying to get them to come out here. They saw me pull out bow and arrow, they wouldn't let me do it. But yeah, something I didn't really talk about in this video is that you always, no matter if it's a bow, or a great bow, or a crossbow, you always need to have a way to harass your opponents, because if you do damage to them when they're in a position where they don't want to come to you, you're still doing damage to them, and people will think, well, isn't that kind of useless because they can just heal? Well, you're abusing the same fact that I came to tell you about with blood and poison, is that it's not a matter of if they heal it up or not, it's a matter of if it wastes their Estus or not. You see, it's not about, you know, one-shotting your opponent and making it to where they can't heal. That's not how this game was made to be played. It was made to waste people's Estus. And that's exactly what bows do, that's exactly what poison does eventually, and that's exactly what bleed does. So please, I mean, no, it's not always a good idea to, you know, whip out a bow when there's 4 people in front of you that all want your ass on a silver platter. But it does have its place, and that is when your opponents are being passive wankers. Now I'll go ahead and say, because this is the last bit of footage, I'm really sorry for being gone for so long. Finals took, you know, a lot of focus, and it also made me want to die. Summoning another Phantom, good stuff. But trust me, I will be uploading much more. I've been working on the next episode in the series of my videos. Stay frosty. This has been CJ the CJ. Later, y'all.